This movie, uh, yeah, this is gonna be a short one. All Monsters Attack was directed by Ishiro Honda, with Jun Fukuda and Kenjo Furusawa going on as uncredited directors for this film, at least according to IMDb. Additionally, we have the return of our famous writer Shinichi Sekizawa and Kunio Miyugachi, with Kunio Miyauchi as its composer. Furthermore, we have a smaller cast this time around, sporting some returning faces alongside new ones, but each having a very minor role in this film, with those names being Tomonoro Yazaki, Hideo Amamoto, Sakauchi Sakai, Kazuo Suzuki, Kenji Sahara, Machiko Naka, Shingeki Ishida, Midoro Uchiyama, Yoshifumi Tajima, and as always, Haru Nakajima. Look, there's no way to slice it. This movie is vastly different from any of the other films on this list, even from the ones like Ebirah and Son of Godzilla. Not only is it primarily not a Godzilla film, but it's more of a Manila film, in my opinion, being a figment of a small boy's imagination in order to assist him with becoming brave and standing up for himself against bullying. In addition to fighting off two bank robbers. Yes, that's correct. Bank robbers. This movie is so strange. I mean, not only is this movie a fever dream in nature, but it feels like a Saturday morning cartoon on steroids. And not the good kind either, like the OG Teen Titans or Ninja Turtles. But I don't want to get into the weeds about this topic, seeing as I'm going to talk about it later anyways. So, with that being said, let's get into it. Look, the message of standing up for yourself is always a good one. As a kid who was bullied a lot growing up, every kid deserves to know and understand what self-worth is, in addition to possessing the messages of standing up for yourself when necessary. Now, as a 30-year-old man, is this message lost on me? Well, yeah. However, I can easily see a kid watching this and understanding that message, being able to derive what it means and using it in their own life to advocate for who they are. It's not perfect or geared toward adults at all. However, I can see this being a beneficial message to children, and for that, it's effective. Going hand in hand with the messenger himself, that being my second favorite thing, Manila.
Hey, come on over here. I won't hurt you.
There is no world in which I will ever hate Manila. This character is so cute and ridiculous, in addition to seeing how this film sort of expands on him, despite it not being him, maybe? However, despite it being weird, one thing I will say is that having a kaiju that can relate to a child and being the image that they receive the message through is a great idea. And as I stated before, is effective for kids and a good character to display this message from. In terms of an adult perspective, looking at something deeper in this film, I really like the way that Ichiro is depicted here from a symbolic and economic perspective. We get to see Ichiro unintentionally suffer at the hands of Japan's economic boom, having both parents working but always being alone. I understand that many parents may need to tackle this route at times to make ends meet. I was also one of those kids at a time. But despite it feeling really sad combined with bullying, it really highlights the economic hardships for families, making the situation feel real in addition to how Japan itself is changing due to the constant laboring of factories and what is changing about the country itself. It's not super subtle at all, and it is very in your face, but it's something that parents and old people would recognize in an instant, and for that, I do love. Shout out to all the millennials that were told not to answer the door or phone and watch The Most Extreme on Animal Planet during your summer break. Remember that show? Great times. What's not great though, well, for starters, is this film. But that feels too broad, so let's get very specific. Once again, I know this film isn't geared toward me, so I can't be upset about that. But what I don't like is the complete 180 that this film takes. Not only can you tell that Toho and Sekizawa himself may be running out of ideas, grasping at straws for concepts, but the idea of this film is so against the grain for an already established 10+ year franchise at this point. Furthermore, the budget is incredibly low here, bringing me to my next point, the reuse of assets. I understand that Toho was trying to save money with this film using old footage from previous movies as a way to save, but also fitting them within the plotline given. However, it's just not it. Because from a narrative perspective, not only would that little boy not know about these events, considering he wasn't there, but it feels as if he's speaking to those who have seen all these movies more so than the main character. And once again, I understand it's geared for that audience, it's geared for kids, but it doesn't work as a film and feels ridiculously cheap. And on that note, let's get into another odd thing. The Monster March.
Go! Go!
No! No!
I mean, do I even need to say anything? Look, Godzilla is cool. Watching him lay waste to buildings and cities is cool. Atomic breath, even cooler. But what's not cool is laying the song over top of that footage. I mean, not only does it set the Saturday morning cartoon precedent out of the gate, but it really hampers the overall Godzilla vibe, taking away any impact he may have had and making him light and fluffy in the process. In terms of Godzilla songs, this ain't for me. Not at all. And honestly, I know this video is going to be a really short one, and one that the majority of G fans probably unanimously agree is the worst Godzilla film, but that's all I gotta say, believe it or not. And with that said, I'm gonna go ahead and put this movie at D tier, being our first Showa era film to be placed this low on the list. Well, that was a rough watch. But with that, I'm closing up the shop. Thank you all for stopping by and having a cup. Let me know what you think about this film and if there was anything that you liked about this movie at all. As always, I'm looking forward to seeing where these kaiju and their stories go, and I cannot wait to get into the banger that is coming next. If you know, you know. But once again, thank you for stopping by. And remember, take life one cup at a time. I'll see you guys later.